Alrighty. We are live. I gotta refresh my memory here. Alrighty. Just gonna wait for, see if anyone's gonna join in here, and I'm gonna hop on. I gotta get used to this with the YouTube Live. Mosquito in here. Why is there a mosquito? Why is there a mosquito alive in Canada? Tim, what's going on, brother? I just killed a mosquito in my house. Like, I got the wood stove going, but it's pretty cold outside. I don't know where that thing came from. Maybe in the wood pile that I brought in earlier today. I have no idea. But anyways, we're gonna give this a couple minutes here, and we'll see. It's a little bit difficult to multitask. I got my computer in front of me here, and then I got my phone obviously hooked up. And I know there's ways you can like hook up your computer and the phone, and then I can even toggle to show you guys like this article that I want to go through with y'all. I could actually show you the article and you can see me scrolling and whatnot, but there's just a couple things I got to get familiar with. I just got to find the time to do it, and all my free time is kind of put into hunting, visiting Franklin and his wife and whatnot. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my computer and I'm looking at the chat. And I can see them pop up on my phone, but I'm not always looking, obviously, at my phone because I'm looking at my computer to read articles and stuff to you guys and look stuff up as we chat. But Dean, what's going on, brother? From Minnesota. And Hunt and Fish, Montana, nice. Montana's got a lot of wolves. Lots and lots of wolves. I know Minnesota, you can't hunt wolves. You can hunt coyotes. One of my subscribers, I've gotten pretty close with him. His name's Scott. He's a sheriff in Minnesota, and he's coming up to hunt with Franklin. He's pretty much waiting for a text message or a call, because right now the wolves are there, but there's not a consistency. So they're kind of, they've turned nocturnal on Franklin since his last guest left. Even though the other day Franklin went to town, and he was in town for maybe 35 minutes and got back home, and there was wolf tracks coming off his bay where he lives on a lake, and up his driveway, past the two cabins, past his woodshed, past his house, and right back just kind of around his house. So yeah, those dogs are getting a little bit brave. So he was sending videos to Scott, this sheriff, police officer down in Minnesota, south of us here, and that he's getting pumped up. So it's just a matter of time before Franklin goes like, hey, come up here. And he's an 8-hour drive, give or take. So he'll pack up the camper and go up. So yeah, and if you guys, couple more folks tuning in here. Russ, what's going on, brother? Yeah, hungry wolves. Yeah, like Renee and I have. So I've got. Well, it might be the same pack. I was gonna say we have 2 packs that I'm aware of in this specific area. Where we are, like you can drive to our acreage, our property, and then you unload your sled and whatnot on the bush road, and then you just hop in. But a couple bush roads over, a buddy of mine at work actually was showing me a wolf pack that he had on his trail cam. So beautiful looking dogs though, like more husky looking, lighter colors, not gray timbers. They were like light brown, which is yeah, just beautiful coloring, and big, really big as well. Oh, I wish I could show you guys. There was a photo I can't remember his name now. He's from Alberta. I apologize now. I guess I could look his name up on here. One sec, guys. He actually has an outfitting business as well. But as I'm waiting for Messenger to load, yeah. So as I was saying, Ross, yeah. So I have at least one pack. It could be potentially two. I feel like it's the same pack. So I was talking to Franklin, and he goes, "So you only have one wolf on your property? Because so far I've just seen one." And so him and I were just chatting. We're just trying to figure out what's going on, because obviously this is new area for me. I mean, same jurisdiction, but different pack in general. And so Franklin was joking. He goes, "I feel like that wolf coming in and stealing a turkey off the bait, you know, like a freeloader does, just like the ravens, they're all freeloaders. He's now left. Like, he hasn't been back for I don't know, 3 days now, give or take. Like today would be the 4th, I think. He could be going off and telling the pack, like, hey, if I located a kill, or you don't know what the wolves know or think about a bait pile, right? There's a bunch of meat. It smells good. It's under a bunch of stuff that looks like maybe a bear had buried it. Obviously, the bears are in hibernation mode. Bears, for those watching, don't know. Yes, bears hibernate, but the way that we were taught is incorrect. Just like the whole school system. They teach you really sideways things, and you don't really know it until you grow up and you're like, wow, all these things not all the things that we were taught are wrong, but yeah, it's they do go to sleep. They do feed a lot come fall, they fatten up, but at certain times throughout the winter, they actually wake up and they'll come out of their dens to drink water, sometimes feed. I lost my phone in Red Lake, down an ice hole. I actually have a video on my channel if you guys want to watch that. It was pretty funny. But I had photos of up north in Pekanjicum, which is about 2-3 hours north. It's a flying community. It's a reserve, indigenous community. They Darren, what's going on, brother? The wolves actually dug out a bear den and ripped it to shreds. All that you could see was just black fur. The head was there, and then the left or right paw. Yeah, they just demoed that. And so the natives were out on the ice. They were pulling their nets and whatnot, and they came across this bear that had been ripped apart by a pack of wolves. So that was something I had never seen before. So that was pretty cool to get some photos from Rich at Chikuni Outdoor Supply up in Red Lake. That's the firearm and fishing store. If you guys are ever up in Red Lake, this is not a sponsor by any means. It's just a buddy of mine. Actually, I got a new sweater, and he hasn't even seen these yet. I don't think he's tuning in tonight, but check this out. So I don't know, it might be backwards for you. No, it's not. It's correct. So it says, run your gun, not your mouth. And then obviously the coordinates. And so one thing, right? Like, obviously it's one thing to chirp and joke around and stuff, talk shit. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, you know, be civil, get along. I'm a big person that I'm a big believer in love, obviously. Like, no one likes to fight. Wars are ridiculous. So go shoot your gun and you'll feel better after. And then, you know, maybe you can shake hands and figure it out. Or if you don't like someone, go practice shooting. I was going to say a pistol. We can't do that in Canada anymore. And don't take those prohibited staple guns out, guys. Just leave those at home. But yeah, so run your gun, not your mouth. So I'm going to go up in March. I think he's out west right now, but once he gets back to Red Lake, I'll pop over his place, and we're going to go and finish off the end of March by shooting a bunch of grouse and having a fry, maybe some walleye. And yeah, I'm going to deliver. I got 2 small sweaters for his 2 sons and 2 sweaters for him and his wife. So yeah, that's a nice little surprise. Yeah, it was a design that we never fulfilled. We actually went with a different design. I did all of his logo and branding and stuff because obviously that's what I went to school for, graphic design, advertising. So Todd Van Dyke, what's going on, brother? Michigan, what's going on? I got family in Michigan, actually. An aunt and her husband is there. And as I was saying earlier, yeah, Sean Snyder. He's from Alberta. We've been chatting back and forth. He owns Alberta Racks N, like November N, Tracks Outfitting. So there's a shout out for you. Alberta Track and, that's hard to say. I'm just trying to read off the website. Alberta Rack and Track Outfitting.com. And he does wolf hunts, and he's him and I have been exchanging some information back and forth. He had a pack show up, and they haven't showed up for a couple weeks. So I recommended that he pick up all of his bait and just move it. And he was actually going to go out the next day after I said that, and he was going to go out, I think, with his son and his wife, and they were going to go scout new ground. So exciting for them. I got to check in with him and see how his bait is now. But Tim Strotman, my uncle sent me an article from Iowa about a gray wolf hit by a car. How big was the wolf, Tim? Was it a big wolf? Was there a photo, or? I'm just curious if it was like a huge timber. And sorry, the reason I brought up Sean's name from Alberta Rack and Track Outfitters, he sent me a photo of his buddy sent him a photo, which then he sent me. It was this ginormous timber wolf, brown in color. Like, I mean, like the paws would have probably been like the size of my head. So I asked him for permission if I could post it on the YouTube, just to show you guys a photo as a, little community post. But he hasn't got back to me about that, and it's totally fair. I just want to make sure there's like consent to post a photo. And remember, you guys can always reach out over email. It's PatterningNature@protonmail.com. I know the new channel name's a little bit difficult to hear or say. It doesn't really roll off the tongue as good, but that was kind of the best we could come up with, Franklin and I, and it kind of goes in tune, like I said, in the rebranding channel. The whole thing of everyone, everyone that's watching, you guys know this. You go out there in the field, you're hunting deer, you're hunting moose, you're hunting rabbit, whatever you're doing, you're just out with the family. There's mushrooms to pick, there's raspberries, there's blueberries, there's superior, what are they called? Anyways, they're like a type of berry, and like near Lake Superior. There's all these things to explore and pattern, and every time you go out into the field, doesn't mean you're always hunting, but you're harvesting something, whether it's an idea, whether you're learning, you're harvesting education, right? So it's much more, I guess it's deeper than just hunting and fishing, right? And that's why I wanted to rebrand. I just got a text there from Scott, actually, the sheriff. I don't want to touch my phone, brother. It said that you can't message. Which is odd. I don't know if you're using a computer or desktop, but welcome. We got 21 on board right now. I'm just going to make sure I don't miss any messages here. Tim Strotman, I love Red Lake. Yeah, man. Red Lake's beauty. Dimensional Horse. Buster Creek got a white wolf on his last video. Buster Creek. Let's see. I don't think I'm following Buster Creek. It's interesting, the development that I've gone through. Like, I love fishing, don't get me wrong. Come on, computer. Buster Creek Outdoors. Yeah, one day ago. Big white wolf. Yeah, that's a big dog. Holy. Yeah, I'm gonna check this guy out. Beauteous. Yeah, he's got it. Oh wow, okay. So 2 months ago you got a big black wolf. He looks like a pretty big fella as well. Rob, First Nations member from Alberta. Awesome. Beauteous. I like that. Yeah, Dimensional Horse. That's beauty. Thanks for the channel recommendation. I'm going to check him out. And there's another one that I love, a native fella. I think he's out in like BC, but I might be totally wrong. His name is Robert Badine or Badine. So Robert, common spelling, and then Badine is Badine. He is like just so genuine and down to earth. Like he's been like tanning moose hides and like very cultural, authentic content. Like he'll go out, he's got a trap line, he's got an old like Bumblebee snowmobile he drives around. And he actually, the beautiful thing, like I used to work in mental health in Red Lake specifically for a couple years before getting out of it. And so this is kind of strong to my heart, just dealing with people with addictions and depression and stuff like that. And Robert Badine, who is on YouTube, like you guys should check him out. He's got a pretty decent following. He used to be an alcoholic. And I know that's a common trend in just in the society we live in. There's nothing wrong with having beers and stuff like that, but yeah, there's people that have their problems, and usually it's trauma based. And yeah, if Robert, I know you're not watching, but I'm thinking about you, brother, and I'm trying to send people to your channel because you're an absolute beauty. Franklin loves him as well. He does some funny stuff. Like he'll be like, okay, like he's just got some pretty neat little things. Tim Strotman, go out to Donald Lake several times a year. And Tim also wants to know, where do you get your bait from? So Donald Lake, I've never heard of that one before. That's new. You should send me an email and let me know where that is. I mean, if you want, by all means. And if you want some fishing spots in Red Lake, I am no stranger. I keep my hunting grounds protected, but fishing, honestly, I would take anyone and everyone out fishing as long as you're a half decent person, that you're gonna like not use and abuse the fishery, within reason. Like we have limits for a reason. I'm game to share fishing spots if you guys are going to Red Lake. If you're going to Red Lake or Ear Falls area and you're not doing a lodge or an outfitter, and you're just taking your own boat for, like, if you're going out for a couple of weeks in the summer or something like that, shoot me an email. Like I'll send you a couple of spots and a couple of lakes. Stormer Lake Lodge is a good spot. And I say Stormer Lake Lodge, you don't have to fish at the lodge. There's a public boat launch there. Sometimes they don't like people fishing there, but you know what? A lake is a lake is a lake, right? And you don't own the lake. Everyone can fish the lake. Brian Forsyth, going on, buddy? I hope the ankle's doing well. And where do you get the bait from, Tim? Anyone that's got a butcher. And then I have a bunch of friends from Red Lake as well that they've been very successful the last couple of years since I started wolf hunting with moose and deer. So usually November through to December. I guess October, moose opener until moose closure, which is like December 15th. I get quite a few moose scraps, moose pelts. I just ripped off a bunch of old content that I think I've posted before. If you guys go through my channel, like you'll see it, but I'm gonna try and like make some stuff happen with some videos. Most of it's from the winter, but I have some beautiful footage of Franklin and I. We count, I hope I still got the video. We count 12 wolf pups and we're just standing on shore videoing. And I'm zooming in, of course, like they're across a lake. But it's a beautiful thing. I've never seen wolf pups before, so it was pretty cool to see that. And that's how he does his thing, right? 12 wolf pups, that rejuvenated the whole pack. So it went, they just skyrocket numbers every spring. And obviously baiting them helps the survival rate. And then obviously like then it goes into managing them with his hunts and all that stuff. So that's outfitting. And also too, like anyone who guides and outfits for like moose and stuff, like, oh goodness, what's his name? Who just put out a beauty video for moose? Modern day, I can't remember his name now. Modern Day Mountain Man. He guides moose up in Alaska. He's got 2 guys hunting a bull moose, and they call in a huge pack of wolves, and they smash like 2 or 3 of them. Like it's an amazing video to see. You guys should check it out. I can't remember his name. I'm just brain dead. I'm a little bit tired right now, but anyways, Modern Day Mountain Man. That's his channel. Darren, I already said hi, but hello again. David Ingram, nice to see you, brother. This year, the Bears won't know what's going on. Yeah, I know. I'm expecting to see Bears out early. Billy Malls. Yes, thank you. There you go. Billy Malls, Modern Day Mountain Man. Absolute beautician. I don't know him personally. Franklin showed me his channel. But yeah, he's got an epic... The moose hunt is epic, but the wolf hunt that they just come upon, like I think they move 2 or 3 different times. They move base camp, and I think it's the second or third time they move. Maybe it's only twice. The second time they move, they come across this pack of wolves, and yeah, they smash. Like Billy like lets out a howl, like just a small faint, and they all like they're on the side of this mountain, like I don't know, 700,000 yards away, and they just like turn, and you could just like see one. It's like kind of like looking in the direction of the howl, and he's just like kind of trotting, and then all the other wolves are like, oh, you're going? Okay, I'm coming along, and they all just like follow suit. And it's interesting. So as I talk about the wagon wheel, like here's the wagon wheel, the center, and then the spokes come in. Watch that video, because you'll see the whole pack converge into one, and they follow the alpha down the mountain, up over a valley, and then they're coming towards the hunters that are all hunkered down in camo. You can barely see them. And Billy's just sitting there filming and everything, and he's just like, hey guys, just let him get closer, let him get closer. And they're like, I don't know, 100 yards or less, and they're like running full tilt. But you only see half the pack come up over that ridge. The rest of the pack are coming back around them. So, yeah, that theory, and it's not a theory, it's a fact of the wagon wheel approach. And obviously, like, well, like if you think about moose, the wagon wheel, here's the wagon wheel, the middle, and then the spokes. Well, if there was a dozen moose in the bush, and in the center of the bush, there was a ton of, little birch, infant birch, would those moose, come in, converge like spokes on a wagon wheel? Well, of course they would. But predators, specifically wolves, do it specifically to, you can't run away. You run away, you're running into me, another wolf. You turn around, you go the other way, there's another wolf. So it's a tactic, where moose don't really have tactics unless it's defending themselves. They'll just boot you in the face and then you're dead. But Todd Van Dyke, Dad always said that shooting guns are the most fun you can have with your clothes on. Yeah, I feel like Rich from Chikuni Outdoor Supply said that once or twice to me as well. And you know what, guys? If you go up for a hunt to Red Lake, moose, whatever you need, wolf with Franklin, you can sight your gun in before you go up, by all means. But if you really need, like say you drop it or something like that and you want to sight it in again, Rich at Chikuni Outdoor Supply has his own gun range. It's like a couple 100 acres. He's got pistol shooting fields. Obviously, like that's kind of like restricted right now until we have some sort of other, I don't even want to say election, but whatever. Until things change, let's just call it that. But yeah, he's got a 300 or 400 rifle range. 300 or 400 yard rifle range. He's got 3D archery. Yeah, he's got a website, chikuniOutdoorSupply.ca. You can check it out. He's got photos and stuff on there. But he's good shit. Tim Trotman, yeah, Chikuni Outdoor Supply is right across the road from Red Lake Marine. And Rich is a bit rough around the edges. Like, he can come off like a bit rough. He's got a really big heart. He's just so busy. He doesn't have time for BS. Like, I'll go in there and I'll shoot the shit with him. But it's a little bit different, right? Like, him and I are pretty good buddies. It took a long time to get to that point with him. And especially me, you can't just trust everyone. But, you know, there's people that go in there and they think that they can, like, just talk to Rich and not do anything and not buy anything. And it's like, it's not a coffee shop, you know? So, yeah, he's there to sell rifles and fishing gear. And, you know, if you ask him questions, I mean, he's full of wealth and knowledge. So, yeah. Dimensional. Oh, Tubby Guy Outdoors. What's going on, brother? Nice to see you. Hopefully you and the wife here are doing well. Hopefully your back's doing okay, bud. Yeah, that sucks. Heal up. Take care of yourself. Dimensional Horse. If I remember right, Buster Creek Outdoors White Wolf weighed over 100 pounds. It was huge. Yeah, so I'm 6'2". My first wolf was 115, 116 pounds. It was big. It was black, all black with a white crest, like a white cross on his chest, which is interesting because later that year, Renee and I up the North Road, which is up Nungusser, just before Stormer Lake Lodge. And it's actually just before the Nungusser River Bridge. The North Road is amazing for grouse, bear. And so we were driving in on the North Road, maybe 3 or 4K in, and it's a beauty road to drive. It's not got no moguls, no bumps, or at least maybe it does now, but it was super smooth. They were doing logging down there. So we were shooting grouse and whatnot, and this big, huge boar black bear comes out, and he's got a huge cross on his chest, white. And so I pull over, and he's probably, I don't know, 100, 120 yards away. And I grab my 308. And at this point, I like step off into the ditch because I was on the road at the time and he's on the road. So I step off into the ditch and Renee's like, "Are you going to shoot him?" Like, she's like looking at the bear, looking at me, looking at the bear. And I'm like, well, no, he's on the road and I can't shoot down the road. But he came off and he went into the same ditch I came in, and he just kind of hunkered down and took off. I wasn't going to shoot him. I just wanted a better look at the guy. But yeah, beautiful white cross on his chest. It's one of those things where, like, I looked at him and I had a bear tag in my wallet with me, and I'm like, I very well could have smoked you, no problem, when you walked into the ditch on the same side of the road. Like, I'm in the ditch, he comes into the ditch, kind of takes a look at me again, and then just like wanders off. Wasn't scared at all. But it was also super, super hot that day. It was like, I don't know, it was like bear had just opened in the fall. I don't know what time it was. I mean, it was grouse season, so it was after September 15th, but it was still hot. Like, September's always weird and up north. It's like either 30 degrees or raining and crappy. But Tim Strotman said it was a young male gray wolf. Interesting. So in Iowa, they are reproducing then. That's interesting. I love the family in here. Darren and Tommy, you guys, obviously you guys live kind of close to each other. I'm glad that you guys are reaching out and you guys are friends. That's beauteous. I like that. I hope everyone can get along. It's we got a lot of things in common. We all love the outdoors, right? And that's key. Tim, you hunted alligator with the family last week. That's insane. I had a buddy that did that with his girlfriend. I don't know where. I think it was, I think it was maybe down in Florida. Him and his girlfriend went down. He said it was a blast. Just like super unique. Tubby Guy Outdoors, following the animals. Droppings will tell you what berries are in season and what mushrooms are out. Yeah, man. I got a bunch of content. Well, not a bunch of content, but some beautiful photos and stuff. Every year I'll go up and pick blueberries and chanterelles and whatever. We got a couple secret spots just north of here. But Franklin and I have our own little spot, so I'll just hop down the road to go to his place, and me, him, and his wife will go out. Once Renee moves up north permanently, she'll join us. But yeah, chanterelles, like, oh my gosh, like just everywhere. And it's interesting. So our chanterelle spot, Franklin and I, so there's a bear bait right by the chanterelle spot that we pick chanterelles, which he manages. There's a wolf spot, a wolf bait, like 50 yards from the bear bait, and then 170 yards from the wolf bait is a wolf blind, and he's got like tree stands all over the place that he just keeps moving around because it's all crown land. So he's got a bear bait, tree stands, and then probably 50 yards away a wolf bait, and then another tree stand that he moves around, and then another wolf. Like, it's just a dialed in area. So you're picking chanterelles and you're like looking around, you know, you're picking, you're filling your hat up. Because there was a guy, rest in peace, but there was a fella, a local fella of Red Lake that actually got attacked and mauled and passed away. And that same stretch, he was picking blueberries. And the issue is he never told anyone where he went. It was his secret spot. And it's like, take a shotgun with birdshot in it, man. Like how hard is that, you know, to do? But it's not his fault. It just so happened that the bears were bedded down and he was picking blueberries, and that's their food, right? So you're in their territory and they just came at him. So that kind of sucks, but you always got to watch your six, right? Rural proper, Robert Badine. I assume you mean Robert Badine. When you say Robert is from northern BC. Yeah, okay. So BC, Beauteous. Yeah, he's an awesome dude. And Tim, so Donald Lake is 50 miles west of Red. Caribou Park. Okay. Yeah. So it's flying probably. Tim, who are your friends that own property on Red Lake? Are they local to Red Lake, or are they like from the US or what? And yeah, Tim, we adhere by the laws. Yeah, like honestly, like hunting and fishing laws aren't that bad. Like you catch 4 walleye up in Red Lake with a sport fishing license, like that's more than enough to feed you and a buddy and maybe 3 people, depending on how hungry you are, with like onions and French fries and a salad on the side, stuff like that, right? Yeah, more than enough. Obviously, like if you keep your one over, like I don't like, excuse me. Sorry, it's been a long day. I was helping my neighbor try and fix a bulldozer. His hydraulics are all off, but we didn't get it fixed, but I think we're close. 4 walleye, if like I don't like keeping any walleye that are over 18 inches personally. I let the big ones go. The spawn, even like a 20 incher, like I'll let it go. 27 inch specifically, let it go. 30 inch, 100% let it go. But anything, you know, 18 and under, I'll keep. Like 3 17.5 inch walleye and then 1 18-inch walleye is like tons of meat. Plus the cheeks. Make sure you get the cheeks out. If you have to sharpen a spoon, like sharpen the edge of a spoon. My dad, actually, he was the first one that told me about that, and then Franklin actually showed me how to do it. My dad he was fishing down the French River and pulled up, and they were filleting some walleye, and a native came by and was like, "Oh, how many walleye did you get?" Blah blah blah. And he's like, "Oh, you like get the cheeks out." My dad's like, "What are you talking about, cheeks? Like fish don't have cheeks." And so the native guy comes over and takes his knife and takes just a little medallion, like, you know, that big. And if you get a pretty good walleye, and if it doesn't end up surviving and it's on the surface, obviously keep it, don't waste it, if it's within your limit range. But those big walleye, like there's been some guests that Franklin's had and they want to mount some walleye, but they'll get like I guess it doesn't really make sense when they keep the fish and they're getting a replica. I never really thought about that, because you just take the measurements and you release the fish. Anyways, I was just going to say, so they kept a 27-inch walleye, and the cheeks on that were like chicken nuggets. Like, it was like huge. And also walleye pearls. Walleye, if you slit their eye, which is totally disgusting to even think about, like horrible, anything to do with eyes and teeth is horrible. Slicing the eye, like you kind of put your thumb in the socket and it kind of pops up, and then you just slice it with your fillet knife, and then you just kind of just go slow because you don't want to pop the pearl, and you'll get what's called a walleye pearl. And actually I have, hold on one sec. My spicy black bean, it's not that. There's actually a couple, I don't know if anyone knows what that is. That is a moose tooth. Let's see. I'm gonna try and show you guys what I got a couple moose teeth in here. Don't ask me why. So here, of course I can't get it out. Oh, there we go. This is a walleye pearl. Now, obviously this is dried out, but this is what the natives would dye and they would make jewelry out of. So I don't know if you can see that. That's a walleye pearl. And this one's a bit cracked, but that's a lot of walleye eyeballs, but you just dry it out and you can make jewelry. So what I plan on doing is making a necklace for and Renee's probably watching it right now, watching me on live, but I'd love to make a necklace for her, and it may be not something that she can wear. They're pretty fragile, but yeah, when you get them out of the eye, they're just totally transparent. Translucent, I guess the key word would be, but yeah, just beautiful looking little things. Dimensional Horse, Wild North, yeah, he's an absolute beauty. I love his channel. Andrew, he's awesome. I'm trying to catch up with all these messages. Yeah, 34 people. Thanks for joining, everyone. It's nice to chat with y'all. And if you miss this, if someone misses it, it's going to be online after it uploads, after I'm done. Troy Berg, greetings from Chisago County, Minnesota. This is Troy, Scott's son. I'm hooked. Troy, I heard a little bird told me, and I'm not going to name names who the little bird was, but they told me that you went and shot a bunch of copperheads ammunition just for fun. And then someone may or may not have been a little bit upset at you. I hope you're well, brother. You and your dad are beauties. I've seen some photos of some stuff that you've taken down, and you're an animal, man. And I love your Jeep. Your Jeep's just a dandy of a vehicle. Tim Stratman, Chikuni Outdoor Supplies has everything you need. Yeah, they really do. It's like I'm a little kid in the candy shop. You know, he's got all of his brand new firearms, 22s for little kids. I just like spit all over my computer desk. Sorry. Getting excited here. 22s for kids, 308s, shotguns, whatever you need on the back wall behind his cache stuff. It's full of trapping gear, fishing gear. I think he's still got lynx pelts in there, wolf pelts in there. Big maps of Red Lake, woodland caribou. You can book woodland caribou trips through Rich if you wanted. And then actually, if you go inside of his store and then you just hang a right and you just keep walking, there's a little separate room off to the right-hand side. That's his used gun store room. I think he's got a little sign that says used guns in here. They're all like, some of them have like Vortex scopes on them already. Rich is a Vortex scope dealer, so that's all he uses. That's all I use. It's great gear. Tubby Guy Outdoors. You're getting better. Good, man. I'm glad your back's getting better. Darren tolerates me. And then Darren, yes, I have a lot of patience for you, Tubby Guy. That's hilarious. You guys are beauty. Merv, Ohio. There you are. You know, that reminds me of the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young song, Ohio. Seems the Red Lake area has a lot more wolves than there was in 72 when I was there, or I was oblivious. Yeah, Merv, I don't know, man. One of my good buddies there I work with in Red, he said the same thing. Like, we were out fishing and whatnot, and obviously I'm like telling him about my wolf hunting adventures. And he's like, there's not many wolves up here. You know, like I'm out and about, like just as much as you are, Joel. Like I don't see any wolves. I'm like, well, I don't either. Like they're pretty mystical creatures. Like you don't see them often. They're pretty good at hiding, like Wolverine. And then sometimes you'll just see them on the side of the road, or like you go into a hydro cut with Franklin, and it's like he snaps his fingers and there's like 12 wolves. And you're like, how did you do that? Like what is about? He's like Dr. Doolittle. Like he's like just wild. I love the guy. But yeah, Merv. So to that, my buddy said there's no wolves in Red Lake. Like, no, there's not as many as you say, Joel. So then every time him and I would go ice fishing, or hunting or whatever, I'd be like, oh look, wolf tracks. Oh look, wolf scat. Oh look, wolf tracks. And everywhere we went, I was pointing out, and he's like, okay, man, I get it. There's a lot of wolves. I'm like, well, there is, man. Everywhere you go, there are wolves. There's a video where I fish. Oh gosh, what's the lake name now? Lee Lake. It's a lake trout lake down Suffolk Lake Road. And I just go in. I had a shitty day fishing, and I'm like just taking this little loop trail. So there's a trail you can kind of go up in altitude, and you can kind of take a little bit of a loop that's more level ground before it goes up. And so I take the loop coming back home. And it goes into what I didn't know at the time was this beaver pond. And there's freaking wolf tracks everywhere. Like it would have been a beautiful spot to bait. But just, yeah, it's just far. It's quite the hike to get in there. Let's see here. Tim. They're all from us out in Pipestone. We always keep eating. Yeah. 18th for supper's perfect. Pipestone's a good fishing spot. Lots of lake trout out there. Little did you, maybe if you didn't know this or not, but Pipestone Bay no longer houses lake trout Pipestone Bay no longer has grounds underwater that will hold lake trout eggs and allow them to spawn, which is sad, which I think is from the limestone kiln that's out there. If you've ever seen that, it's leached into the water, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of shitty. But in saying that, the lake trout are coming back, and in like the water body of Red Lake used to be a trophy lake trout fishery. Like you'd catch 30 pounders all day long. Like that's how good it was. And then a lot of mining happened in the West End in Pipestone Bay, and yeah, now we're kind of left with what we got now today. But I've had some really good luck out there off Potato Island. Tubby Guy Outdoors, catch your limit, but limit your catch. Yeah, I like that. That's a good saying. I feel like that's a thing Franklin would tell me. Like he'd kind of look at me and be like, catch your limit, but limit your catch. Like kind of wise owl. Whoo. Tim, love the cheeks and the walleye wings. Yeah, walleye wings, people just throw them out. I don't know, like how dare them? Like you just, like obviously the dorsal fins at the front. So obviously like if I'm looking at you guys, if I'm the head of the walleye and the two dorsal fins, you just like come up and then over, and you get this beautiful chunk of meat, and then you can slice down the middle, and there's a huge bone in there that allows the dorsal fins actually, like, you know, allows them to swim. But season that up, put it in the oven or deep fry them, and then all you do is just hold on to the actual like dorsal fin itself, and then the whole bone just comes off side of the meat. So no different than like a chicken wing. Just dandy. David Ingram was picking berries and looked up at a couple Cubs watching us 60 yards away. Did not take as long to get to the car, 20 yards. Frig. That's crazy. Did you have a firearm with you? I mean, that's the thing. Like, I would rather exit and depart the area than have to shoot a bear or a cub. Obviously, like, I don't want to do that. It's their backyard, right? We're just in it. We're just exploring it and enjoying it. But yeah, that's scary, man. I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're here to enjoy the content and comment, because that can be scary, especially the Cubs. I don't doubt Mom was far. Merv, Ojibwe and Slate Falls introduced me to walleye cheeks. Yeah, good. Yeah, goody. Yeah, I know. Yeah, 100%. And one thing that my dad told me as well was catfish. And I've never had catfish before, still to this day. But when I was young, he always used to go on and rave about how good catfish is. And I know in the South U.S., like, they eat a lot of catfish. But excuse me. He was telling me that ice fishing for catfish is the kind of better way to go, because in the winter, obviously, the meat is a lot better. But still, yeah, I've never really caught any catfish. Well, I went to northern Alberta, went to High Level, and then Northwest Territories. I think I caught a couple catfish in, I think it was the Peace River. I fished. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but yeah, that was pretty fun. David, cheeks are the best, almost like scallops. Yeah. Actually, Franklin's wife, she puts, like, she'll pick in the summer, they'll grow their own lettuce and vegetables and everything, and she'll put like one thing of lettuce and then the walleye cheeks on it, and then a little bit of lemon and some fresh dill that she grew. Oh man, it's just like, it's heaven. She's a wonderful cook. Tim Stratton, walleye pearls, get the fuck out. I'm making a necklace for sure. Yeah, dude, they're awesome, and like, people throw them away. Like, again, put your thumb in the eye, slice it. There's Renee. I'm always listening. Yeah, right. Oh man, you're funny. Yeah, you are always listening. You probably have the house bugged while I'm up here. Anyways. What a girl, eh? Yeah, so put your thumb in. It'll pop out the eye, and then just slice it, and then the actual, like, pearl will come out. And, like, just take your fillet knife and use the blunt end and just pick up the pearl. And it might have, like, a little bit of a black dot on the actual pearl. Just, like, hold the pearl in your fingers and just try and pinch. You can't really see. Pinch that black dot, and it should separate. It's just the I think it's just the retina detaching from this. This is like a horrible conversation to have, but it's the retina is, like, detached, and then you got to take the retina off. So yeah, they're pretty cool. And then you just put it on paper towel and just let it sit somewhere and dry. But usually, like, I like to do that when I'm home. So what I'll do is I'll just leave it in, like, a little thing of water before I, like, get home from Franklin. So it'll be in water, and then by the time I get home, I'll empty it out, and then I'll dry it off on paper towel. And it's funny, like, obviously there's a bunch in there, but I've looked this up on the internet, and there's, like, nothing about it, but yet Franklin knows about it. So it's like, I don't know, just wealth of knowledge. Darren Davidson Outdoors. Thought of you today trucking down the highway and saw a bunch of wolf tracks where they crossed the highway along with a lot of oh, they were pushing moose, eh? Yeah, man. Hey, thank you for everything you do. Trucking is a selfless job that no one, I mean, I think we appreciate the job more so nowadays than we did prior, or maybe we did back in the day more. Like, I remember as a kid, you know, But yeah, man, thank you for what you do, Darren. We need more folks like you. I hope the trucking industry is doing okay. I don't really know the ins and outs of that, but I'm sure you would know more insight into that. David Ingram. So you didn't have a rifle with you when you saw the bear cubs? Right by the road, north of Sudbury. Okay, that's a beauty area, though. There's some good brook trout spots north of Sudbury. Russ, if you compare catfish to walleye or even pike, you're not missing anything. Trust me. You know what? Pike's delicious. I don't know what people go on about, how pike is not good. Like pike in like the dog days of summer when they're like sitting and they're just like they smell like mud. Yeah, don't eat a pike. But in the winter or the spring or early summer, especially in Red Lake. Oh, excuse me. Sorry for all the yawning. I really apologize. I'm probably making you guys yawn too. They're delicious. You just got to know how to fillet them. There's like the top by the spine. There's the piece there that's boneless. The two pieces by the tail, the belly, and then just you got to figure out that Y bone with the by like the left and right fillets on the side of the fish. But it's really not that big of a deal. And even then, like if you get off most of the side, like the side meat, and you still have a lot of meat in the Y bone, just take your fillet knife and just chunk it off. Like there's no issue with that. You're still gonna get lots of meat. Yeah, Renee says hello. Thank you all for following along. Joel's and soon to be more of my outdoor adventures. Yeah, hopefully Renee smacks a wolf or bear, deer, maybe a moose. I'm still waiting for my moose tag, my bull tag to come around. I'm gonna try and take one with archery with Franklin. He's gonna be my guide. We've already set up a game plan. It's almost like it's gonna happen. Like we're planning like we're getting, I'm getting a tag. So we have the lake figured out. We have everything dialed in, the trail, everything. And there's moose there. So it's just a matter of time. So expect that. Even if I don't get a tag, I mean, we can go, maybe we'll go for like a wolf hunt or something in that area and I'll still do some filming. Darren Davidson, we're the most needed people on the highway, yet the most hated. Yeah, I hear you, man. I think a lot of the hate is towards kind of like newer Canadian truckers though, right? Like, and obviously like they're different culture than we are. They look differently than us. Most of them come from India, and that's not a race thing. That there's nothing racist about that. They just happen to come to Canada to truck. And I've met a lot of them that are wonderful truckers, and then I've met others that aren't. But at the same time, I've met people like you, Darren, that are awesome at trucking, and then on the same leaf, like you meet other guys or women and they're not good, right? Like, so it doesn't matter. Like whether you work at like a firefighter's hall or a gas station or a trucking company, there's going to be amazing employees and there's going to be horrible employees. Doesn't matter. It's how people are raised, their work ethic, everything. So yeah, I hear you, man. I mean, every career's got their qualms, right? Like gas station tenants, convenience stores, like grocery store clerks. I don't know about you guys, but those self-checkouts can just go fly a kite in a thunderstorm. I will not use self-checkouts. I'd rather deal with a human. Just stupid. And also too, like when you go to Walmart, I don't shop at Walmart anymore, but I don't want to make this into a rant, but just give me one moment. You go to Walmart and you go to self-checkout and you self-checkout yourself, you buy your stuff, you get your receipt, and then you go to leave. And then there's like these Walmart security guards that are like, let me see your receipt. You're like, if you don't trust me enough to do your job, then you get behind a cash register and till me out. Like that is the most ridiculous thing ever. So yeah, I don't shop at Walmart anymore. It's just garbage. I refuse to go in there. Daniel Masson, good evening from New York. Really enjoy your channel. Good luck with your new blind and bait site. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, blind is dialed right in. I still got to do some overnighters in there. I will before the end of the season. It's just I'm just trying to dial in these dogs. We had them here for a good consistent time and some good footage, but now it seems like they've kind of gone off. So we'll see what happens. I've rebaited, and there's still a decent amount of bait out there, but the ravens just demolish it, right? So I still got another 2 or 3 boxes of bait, and then I'll have to go get more bait. But I'm probably gonna throw that out onto the bait site here in the next, I don't know, probably next, I don't know. I might do it tomorrow. I'm not going to do any filming or anything. I might just bomb out there and throw 1 box of bait out there, but I'll shove it underneath again and hide it. And then I'll do the next box probably next week, because at that point I can collect more bait, but we'll go from there. Tubby Guy Outdoors. We're looking forward to your shared adventures. Yeah, Renee's a little trooper. She's a breath of fresh air, that one. It's nice to have someone that wants to learn and like understands. Like obviously she always says like, I wish you were to look at me like the way you look at like fish or wolves, which is funny. I like that, but it's just different. It's just a different look. I have a look for you, Renee, babe, and I have a different look for wolves and fish. It's okay. There's differences. Rust White, cold to the water, better to the fish. Yeah, man, 100%. Tubby Guy Outdoors. When I went to Red Lake, I cooked up a jack. People were watching me carry it to the car and whispering, "That guy's keeping a jack." Yeah, people are judgmental, eh? Screw them. They can go fly a kite in a thunderstorm, right? David Ingram, worked in Sudbury for 20 plus years before moving back south. Moving back south? Come on. Dave, you got to go back up north, brother. Unless it was good for good reason or family, then obviously I totally get it. But yeah, the north is where it's at. Tubby Guy Outdoors, I made fish burgers. My buddy's family devoured it. Of course they devoured it. It's delicious. Tim Stropman, do you ever get a cinnamon roll from Antonio's? Okay, Tim or anyone listening, if you go to Red Lake, okay, go to Antonio's and get the baked tortellini. There's two different kinds. There's the white sauce one and the red sauce one. Get the white sauce if you're into that. It's like Alfredo. Baked oh my, I'm salivating right now. It is so freaking good. Their pizza's good there too. It's a little bit expensive, but it's all homemade. A family's owned it for like decades. They're a really nice family. They do good. The grandmother works there. The mom works there. The whole family works there. The dad. But yeah, wonderful spot to go eat if you guys are looking to get a little cheat meal under your belt after hunting or fishing. Darren, oh yeah, don't get me started on the new Canadians, but yes, some are actually great drivers. I find my share of bad ones. Yeah, I hear you, man. David came back for family, and the north is where it's at. The specs are the best. Yeah, I know. And I've yet to eat a spec. They're too beautiful. They're way too beautiful. I can't bring myself to do it for some, obviously not for some reason. I know why. They're too beautiful, but well, so I got, we're going on about an hour here. It's been awesome chatting with you guys, but I want to go through this article and just chat. So one of the guys, Tim F, I won't say his last name, but Tim F reached out and sent me an email, and by all means, like, I don't expect anything from you guys. But by all means, like, send me stuff. Send me photos of your hunting stuff, fishing stuff. If it has something to do with wolves, I'm always interested and intrigued by stuff with anything to do with the outdoors. So he reached out and he sent me this article, and it's about in Ukraine, the nuclear disaster in Chernobyl. And so obviously there's been studies going on since that occurred. And it's neat because Tim, when he sent me the email, the title of the email was "Nature is Amazing," and quite literally, it is amazing because the concluded study. So let's see here. I'm just gonna go through the article. There was a couple points I should have highlighted them, but 1986 was nuclear disaster. How about this? Let me just read the article. A nuclear disaster followed the explosion of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in April 1986 in northern Ukraine, then part of Soviet Union. Mother Russia. It released a large quantity of cancer-causing radioactive material. Today, legacy still lingers in the radioactive soil and water in Belarus, Ukraine, and Western Russia. The gray wolves in the highly radioactive area are exposed to 11.28 milligrams of radiation daily, more than 6 times the legal safety limit for humans. For humans, okay? For humans. However, recent research conducted by Kara Love, what a name. Sounds like a, I'm not even gonna say it. Just sounds like a, yeah, anyways. Kara Love, an evolutionary biologist and exotoxicologist, that's a mouthful, at Princeton University, shows how these wolves have adapted to survive in radioactive environment. Love's research established that wolves in Chernobyl have altered immune systems, similar to cancer patients undergoing radiation treatment. Okay, so I feel like there's like a direct correlation there between like cancer radiation and undergoing radiation and these wolves being subject to 6 times the legal safety limit of radiation. This is important as scientific research reveals more about radiation resistance, the potential for innovative therapies and preventative measures against cancer grows. Interesting. Love and her team visited the excursion zone in 2014, equipped in wolves with radio collars to track their movements and monitor radiation exposure in real time. That's super neat. After the worst nuclear disaster of all time, released cancer-causing radiation and irradiated debris into the power plant's surrounding environment, the area was rendered uninhabitable for humans. Well, maybe it's not though. What if we go in and turn into like Super Mario Brothers and then solve cancer? What about that? That's an idea. Does anyone volunteer for tribute? You can live with the cancer-free wolves. They can teach you. You can give them treats. About 350,000 people were evacuated. 40 years later, okay, hear this. However, almost 40 years later, the disaster, wildlife like horses, wolves, forests, and fungi have recolonized to the effect. Of course it has, because Mother Nature is amazing and God is wonderful. Many studies suggest that animals are thriving in the zone because of the lack of humans. Well, nah, I disagree with that. Nature flourishes. Yes, look at this. Nature flourishes when humans are removed from the equation, even after the world's worst nuclear accident. Jim Smith, environmental scientist, National Geographic. Yeah, I think there's a fine line there. Jim Smith, environmental scientist from National Geographic. I feel like it's a fine line. Because, you know, you guys, we all know this, right? You go into the field, even if you own, say you own 100 acres, okay? And say you're down somewhere in like Minnesota or somewhere in Texas and you're managing deer or whatever, moose, I don't know, deer. Let's talk about deer. You have to go manage your own property. Like you have to manage that plot of land. You have to cut trails. You have to take out predators. You have to hinge trees for cover for deer. You have to make bedding areas. I mean, you don't have to, but if you want to attract more deer to your acreage, well, you better put the work in. So, I mean, maybe Jim Smith from National Geographic. Now, look at Toronto, okay? Toronto, Ontario. You know, it was this, you know, at one time a small city, and now that city, Toronto is now Scarborough, Brampton. You know what I mean? Like it's escalated to a point where it's now taken over. The city of Toronto is like, well, the city of Toronto is still the city of Toronto, but Toronto is now considered like Scarborough in these areas. So think of the wildlife pushed out. Like I remember fishing downtown Toronto, working in advertising. There was the biggest, to this day, the biggest buck deer in the Port Credit River. And I'm fishing for salmon, and I'm like in the river under the QEW. Was it the QEW at the time? I don't know. I can't remember. I'm rusty with the roads now. I was under a major highway. Like you can hear them. And this huge buck just like walks like 10 yards from me, just looking at me, you know, takes a little drink, looks over at me like, "What's up, bud? Catching anything?" And it's like, what just happened? And he just goes and he just walks up to the highway. I don't know if he crossed the highway, but he just went up and tucked himself into the bush. Yeah, it was like just crazy. So there's like a certain balance, right? Like Toronto is kind of like, it's kind of gone too far. And then you have people living in subdivisions, and there's nothing wrong with living in subdivisions. But I saw an article a couple years back. There was a guy that's like, "I want to trap coyotes because they're killing our dogs." Well, look at where you live, man. You're living in their backyard. Your new subdivision, you demolished all that bush to put up houses. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to come kill your cats. They're going to come kill your dogs because your dogs are yappy little things. And there's nothing wrong with small dogs, but like, come on, man. And then it's like to turn around and be like, "I want bylaw to change the bylaw so I can trap coyotes." It's like, well, how about you just like monitor your pets and maybe get like a fence and maybe control your garbage. Like it's no different than in Red Lake. Like we're used to it now. Like there's wolves in town, there's moose in town, you know, like right on Howe Street, there's a moose walking down the street. You know, there's bear in town. There's coyotes in town. In Red Lake Marine, there was a coyote that every night when I would leave for work, oh, excuse me, I'd meet it. Like I'd kind of turn off Howe Street onto Highway 105 in town, and it'd be running across the road. It would be at Subway beside Richard's store, eating like all the subs and meat and stuff. But yeah, like there's a balance. So I don't know. I don't know if I agree with Jim Smith from National Geographic, but to a certain degree I do. But even like logging cuts, you know, up in Red Lake, I mean, are after a couple of years are some of the best moose habitat for feeding and hunting. And then I don't know, the list goes on. We could be here for hours talking about, you know, the human impact on land and whatnot. But yeah, one thing I want to get out there is I've actually had a couple people reach out about wolf hunts. And I should go back, and I've kind of lost track of the chat here, but still reach out. Franklin's doing all of his own booking now. He did have a guy from Texas doing his booking, but he just felt it was unneeded. So he's doing all his own booking now. So if there's anyone that I directed you to Dusty, I apologize. You can email me again, and I'll get you in touch with Franklin for a hunt. Franklin's still got I feel like this year, because Wolf ends March 31st, 2024, and then it opens again September 15th, 2024. I think he's pretty well booked in, other than Scott from Minnesota, the sheriff. I think that's pretty well his last guest, but I'm not sure. I don't keep a tally on who's coming and going at Franklin. So if you want a wolf hunt, reach out. You might be able to come up in March. I don't know. If not, next year for sure. I know I sent him a couple guys and they've booked in for next year. So yeah, or if you want to hunt bear, Tubby Guy Outdoors and Darren, if you guys want to make a trip up and hunt bear with Franklin, he would be more than happy to have you guys stay at the cabin and hunt. I know it will be a bit of a drive, but Darren, you're used to driving, and Tubby Guy Outdoors, I'm sure you're used to driving, hauling the big RV and stuff around with your wife. So I don't know. Let me know if you guys need any hunts. Just let me know. Reach out, email me. I'm always here to chat and get to know you guys a little bit more. I'm gonna just, let's see, before ending, one more thing. So I asked nothing from anyone. I'm doing this out of pure joy and a hobby. I love the outdoors, and I've always had a knack, maybe not a knack, I've always had a need and want and purpose, or maybe I want fulfillment and purpose to help people and educate them and show them, maybe there's someone like Renee has cerebral palsy, right? And she's more than able-bodied. She's more than enough. Sean, there you are, brother. I gave you a shout out, your outfitters earlier in the live. But yeah, so Renee's got cerebral palsy, and obviously she's more than able to do a lot of things I'm able to do, right? Unless it's like opening a pickle jar, then I just watch her and I'm like waiting for her to ask me for help, and I know she'll never ask me for help, so I usually just help her, but that's just the way she is. But maybe there's people out there watching my YouTube that are bound to a wheelchair, and maybe they can't hunt, or maybe they can. I would wheel someone around in a wheelchair to hunt wolf any day, any day, for free. I don't care. That would be a wonderful experience. Even if you just saw a wolf, would be a wonderful experience. And just thinking about that, showing up to Franklin's, if you were in a wheelchair, you could make it into the cabin and literally sit with your gun on the bog pod and clamp it in, and you could literally just sit in your wheelchair and shoot a wolf, just sitting there. It would be beauty. So yeah, I just want to help people, and I want to make connections with people, because the world is so big with technology that we have, and the interwebs. And Steve, what's going on, brother? Steve, aka Moose Man, amazing moose hunter. I have so much to learn from you. Everyone go check out his channel, subscribe. He's from Wawa, beautiful area, really an untouched area, especially Lake Superior in that area. See guys, I'm like a squirrel. It's just like squirrel. But yeah, what I was saying is this is for fun. And the reason I'm saying this is because there's been a couple comments, and I don't care about negative comments. It's like, what is that? I don't know what I'm trying to reference. It's just it's like beaver fur. It's I got beaver fur, and the negative comments just slick off, It's just yeah, they don't affect me. It's just whatever. Sometimes I don't want to respond to them, but I try and respond with as much love as I can. But there's been a couple comments being you're doing this for likes, you're doing this for money, you're doing this for whatever. And people are going to nag, people are going to be jealous. People don't want you to succeed. That's just human nature. Not everyone, but I do want to say there's a company that reached out. It's called Army Tech. Never heard of them ever in my life. But they're a flashlight company. And I looked at some, and it's a Canadian brand, and I don't have a headlamp. I mean, I do have a headlamp, but it's in my go bag. So it's always tucked away. I don't really use it for anything unless I absolutely have to, I'm in the bush stuck somewhere. And it's funny, I did a video last night baiting, and it's coming out. I have it scheduled to come out, I don't know when, in next week or something. and you guys are gonna see, like, I'm videoing in the dark, and it's so hard, and I don't have a headlamp, and it's just like, I don't know. I could go buy one. Don't get me wrong. Like, I am a cheap bugger. Like, I make blinds out of skids and will pick up wood off the side of the road. Like, screw me, right? But Army Tech reached out and they said, hey, like, you know, we watched your videos and like you do a lot of hunting. You walk to your wolf blinds at night. You know, like, do you want a headlamp? And I was like, yeah, kinda. So they're gonna send me one, or they have sent me one. I haven't received it yet. And there's a code, like I have a 15% off code or something I can just put in the description. But by no means am I gonna shove it down your guys' throat or anything like that. You're gonna see me wearing it, and I might mention it in a video or two. But in saying that, if it is complete garbage, I will also say that. So I'm all about transparency, honesty, and I try to hold high like integrity in keeping things true. So Ruger American, if you want to sponsor me and send me free rifles, or Vortex Canada, if you want to sponsor me, that would be amazing. I would love that. Anyways, I'm going to go through some comments here because I've missed a couple, and then we're going to end it because I have to hop on the phone with Renee and her family. We have to figure out, Renee's competing in 2024 Paris Paralympics. She's second in the world right now for discus. So we have to plan a bunch of stuff like flights, and I have to let them know about a bunch of time off. And yeah, so it's like all these people around Canada coming to Paris for one thing. So that's going to be pretty neat. I've never really been out of Canada other than the US. So that's what I have to do. But before I go, let's see here. David, glad I was able to be here. I'm glad you were here too, brother. It's nice to see you. Tubby Got Outdoors, I'd argue pound for pound, hardest fighters out of the trout. Yeah, 100%. Char family. Yeah, I want to go catch Arctic char. I think in Saskatchewan or Manitoba they have Arctic char somewhere stocked. But yeah, browns are pretty close. They fight darn hard. Atlantic salmon too. I've caught a lot of Atlantic salmon down in Lake Ontario. They're a pretty good fight too. Tubby Guy Outdoors. Maybe the radiation will activate the nanobots I got from that shot, and I'll become a superhero. Are you talking about the COVID-19 vaccine? Oh shoot! I just said the V word. Well, now we're all screwed. We're probably all on a domestic terrorist list now. Especially you, Tubby Guy Outdoors. Also, too, it's so funny, the prohibited staple gun videos, like all the comments. By the way, my channel got throttled. So by throttled, I mean censored. So if you see, so I had 3 staple gun videos. The 2 videos were like 10,000 views, which whatever, like views are views. I don't care. I mean, if I got 100,000 views, I'd be like, that's super neat. But then I posted that last one and it only got, I don't know, like 2,000 views maybe. And I'm like, yeah, so anyways, throttling is like, they're lowering my numbers because I'm the algorithm, I guess, is limiting my channel depending on how you look at it. Anyways. And Tubby Guy Outdoors, yes, you will. Or maybe you'll become a wolf. I don't know. Valhalla, what's going on, brother? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Tim, I've never fished Quebec. No, but I've heard it's beautiful. There's a lodge in northern Quebec by, I think, James Bay that I want to go. I'd love to take my dad there. It's a river. It's a part of the James Bay River, a tributary. And you walk the river, and every like 1 to 3 kilometers is different fish. So it's like pike, trout, lake trout. it's like the more you go up, and then it's like grayling, and then Arctic char, like it's like wild. And so that's what I've read. But yeah. Tim Stratman, coyotes make great hats. Yes, they do. I got one in the shop actually that's drying out right now. Well, it is dry. I have to skin it out. Oh my gosh, I have to tan it. Darren Davidson Outdoors. The joys of living in the north. I've seen bears, moose, lynx, fox, etc. walking the streets. New Liskard's a beauty spot. Yeah. I was going to work. I mean, it happens all the time. Going to work the other day, and like there was a fox like just sitting there. Like I parked the truck, and I'm like, "Are you good? Like, are you all right?" Like he's just sitting there. Like you could tell he like kind of just woke up. Like it was pretty early in the morning. Like his eyes were kind of shut. He's just like looking at me, like looking around like this, like but his eyes were like just like slits. And I'm like, "Okay, man, you look tired. Like have a good morning." And he like just kind of sat there and watched me go to work. I was like, okay, that was interesting. Darren, 15-hour drive. Nah, that's you got to bump those numbers up, man. That's nothing. Tim Stratman, email me, man. If you want to go for a wolf hunt, let's do it. Yeah, Alberta Racks and Track Outfitters. There he is. Welcome to the show. I'm just about to sign off and chat with Renee and her family, but I'm just trying to go through all this and make sure I got everyone's comment and whatnot. Tim Stratman, thanks so much for doing this chat. Yeah, I just thought it was cool. I don't do these enough, and but at the same time, like everyone's busy, so it's kind of nice to do them once in a blue moon, especially if you have a topic that's pretty cool to surrounding wolves and whatnot. And that was pretty neat. And the study just came out on the 10th of February. It was concluded or something like that. So yeah, Tim F, if you're on here, thank you for reaching out and giving that to me. And again, please guys, reach out on email, patterningnature@protonmail.com. Yeah, let's just chat. Angela Morton. Hi, Ange. We love you and Renee. Yeah, I love you too, Ange. Steve Mooseman. Anything's possible. Yes, you darn right it is. And then again, Steve Mooseman. Thanks, buddy. Haha. When you have a passion for the outdoors, it's in you to go. Yeah, 100%, man. It's like, it's so funny, eh? Like people, they see my wolf hunting videos, and at one point in time I had Instagram and I was doing all these, like if you go back on my channel, you'll see the wolf hunting journey, like part 1, part 2, part 3, whatever, until I actually shoot one. That's like 2 years worth of my Instagram stories. And before I deleted Instagram in the realm of COVID, when things got weird, and things are still weird, but better. I before I deleted Instagram, I ended up downloading all of my stories and compiling them into YouTube videos. And unfortunately, most of them are vertical, not horizontal. So bear with me, but the content is just so, like I look back at some of those and I watch them with Renee and I'm like, oh man, like I was so fresh, you know, but there was, and still to this day, that's where that passion came from. COVID happened. I was just like so beat down and like almost let go from work and all this stuff. Like luckily work had an option to do testing and whatnot, but it's like so stressed out, you know, I couldn't go work out, couldn't go to the gym, you know, you can't go to your friends, even though we did, and I said F that and went ice fishing and had fires and whatnot. But like that pushed me to try wolf hunting. And I look back at COVID and I'm like, yeah, that was shitty times. Yeah, we were all manipulated and lied to. But I think we all learned a lot about not only ourselves, but also society. And I have to be honest with you, no one was coming to Red Lake. We had all the lakes to ourselves, all the wolves to ourselves. I mean, it was like insane fishing. I would go out in the boat. No other boats would be out. I mean, I wouldn't see a boat the whole day. And yet you go when it's normal. Like, I mean, the lodges and the outfitters, God bless you all. You're amazing at what you do. I hope nothing but the best. But like, oh my gosh, man, that was some crazy times. Like, no, it was just ghost town. Every lake you went to, snowmobiling, ice fishing, whatever you did, no one was around. It was just, it was really freeing, actually. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, passion. That's where it was, passion. So yeah, it's Moose Man. Yeah, man, it's 100%, brother. Todd Van Dyke, thanks for taking us on your journey. Yeah, brother. It's I started my YouTube just for like family, because I moved to Red Lake in 2018. So I just like, obviously my mom and dad are still down south and lots of family and whatnot. So I just wanted to kind of show and share my experiences, and it's just kind of flourished into what it is now. And now I have like, 1,300 subscribers, and I mean, we have lots of room to grow, but it's not about the subscriber count. It's about connecting with you guys and chatting and, like emailing and shooting the shit with Tubby Guy Outdoors and Darren and even Ernie, like yeah, man, it's nice. It's really, really nice to chat with everyone. It's just such a good community. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Moose Man. Darren, yeah, products. If they're crap, right? But like, if it's a good headlamp, then I'll tell you guys. But I'm gonna use it, and I'm gonna use it and abuse it, like I do all my gear. Like, I like to take care of things, but at the same time, like, make sure you take care of it as well, and use it to its fullest amount, right? Yeah, Tubby Outdoors. Yeah, I've had a weight loss company reached out to you. Come on. Oh, that's just rude. Like, was it like, really? Man, YouTube's weird. And also Tubby Guy Outdoors. There was also a fishing company. It was from, weirdly enough, on the topic of COVID. It was from Wuhan, China, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna send you some fishing lures, but like, you have to do a video and this and that." And I'm like, "No, I'm good. Like, my shop is full of fishing stuff. Like, I have way too many spoons and lures that I don't use already." I'm like, "Nah, I'm okay." I appreciated it, and it was nice, but nah. Let's see. Yeah, you guys are chatting up a storm. I love it. Ernie, love you, brother. Steve, Moose Man, yeah. Snowflakes, yeah, I hear you, man, yeah. I hear you. I respect everyone, but at the same time, I'm like a big, I'm a big fan of like, kind of like F your feelings to a certain point, you know what I mean? Like, feelings are like, validate, like we all have emotions and whatnot, but at the same time, don't let your emotions rule everything. I think that's the key. Put your emotions to a side, because that's not who you are. Weekender 38, I'm waiting for the hunt with Renee and the new blind. Yeah, I know. We won't get around to it. She's headed back down south, but I got a couple of videos scheduled in that are coming out in the next week and a half that you'll see, and it's starring Renee. And looking back at those videos, like, I should have incorporated Renee more. Like, I'm like, "Hey, like, do you want to film?" And she's like, "Yeah, I don't really want to be on camera." Like, she obviously was, but she'll warm up to being on camera a little bit more as we move forward. But Steve, I watched your very first wolf hunt preps way back before I subbed your channel. Good job keeping on with it and doing more. I never changed my way we fished and hunted together. Friggin' rights, brother. That's so funny. I do the same thing. Like, I'll check a channel out before I subscribe, and I'm like, yeah, like, I like these videos, but let me like hold off, because sometimes I subscribe and then they don't release any new videos, and it's just like, why do I subscribe then? But people get busy too, right? So Valhalla awaits. COVID ripped a lot of family and friends apart, sent some of us out into the bush a lot more. Silver linings. Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, I hear ya. And you know, like, I think one thing we have to think about, and I don't want to get political here or anything like that, but at the same time, like, there was a lot of individuals that fell for a lot, and were like brainwashed, whether they know it or not. And I'm not saying I have all the answers. I don't at all. But we all have to just kind of stick together, and without every one of us, there is nothing, right? Like, the government will just continue to do what it does, and it's not really the government per se. It's just really like who's in power right now in Canada. Like, it's really weird what's going on. There's a lot of sideways things. Like, I can't even begin to go on, and it's like it's not even a bias anymore, because it's just so factual. It's like blatant, you know, like $3 billion to Ukraine for what? Why? But yet, you know, all the Toronto homeless shelters and even like Thunder Bay, 6 hours south of Red Lake, like, are all full. You know, the food donation bins where they help the homeless and, like, you know, families that do maybe pay rent or have homes and they still have to get food from donation facilities. Like, they're like being ravaged, and we have so many immigrants that they can't afford to live. And it's just like this spiral. It's like, it's almost like they had this plan right from the get-go to just ruin Canada. And it's just really, really unfortunate. I mean, Canada's held strong. It really has. People are persevering, but at the same time, people are also suffering, and it sucks. And by all means, if you guys like need help with anything, but like, reach out and ask. Like, the worst I can say is no. Even anything to do with hunting, Franklin, stuff like that. Like, I don't personally guide. Maybe someday I will, but yeah, just reach out if you have any questions. Email me. Darren Davidson Outdoors. I did lose my job over COVID because of the restrictions of the border. So after chatting with 56,000 other truck drivers, we decided to go visit Trudeau in Ottawa. That convoy gave me hope. So were you there, Darren? There's been some pretty good news, recent news about that, the fact findings in the federal court and whatnot. I think even like Trudeau and Freeland are getting sued, like by like people that their bank accounts were frozen. Like, what democratic country freezes the public citizens' bank accounts? Like, how sideways is that? Like, I can't even start. I really can't. And if Renee's still watching, she'll know why. Like, I can't. Just, Darren, don't get me started. Don't trigger me. Don't. Jared Eid. What's your email again? PatterningNature. So it's just my channel name. PatterningNature, obviously without the space in between. PatterningNature at protonmail.com. If you go to any one of my videos, especially the more recent videos, and click the description, it's in there. Just copy it, paste it, shoot me an email, let me know who you are, what your deal is, what you want, any questions, concerns, and we'll chat. And if you want to be put in touch with Franklin, then I can 100% do that. So essentially, like, the way that works is, like, the reason I get you guys to email me first is because I want to know what you want, and I want to chat with you a little bit. I don't want to like vet you. I'm not going to know who you are just by email, but like, where are you coming from? What do you want? Is it a wolf hunt? Is it a bear hunt? What do you want? You know, what caliber rifle are you going to bring? Like, ask me questions. Like, what do I need to bring? If I wolf hunt at Franklin's, do I need a sleeping bag? What kind of rifle do I need? How much ammunition do I need? Do I need to bring food? I'm not going to have all the answers, and Franklin and his wife are going to answer a lot of them for you, but I'm kind of the first step. I don't take any money from Franklin at all for this. Him and I are just buddies. I love that guy. I feel like he's most definitely one of my soulmates for sure, that I probably should have met a lot, earlier in my life than now. But he's 76 and I'm in my 30s, and I'm gonna try and have as much time as I can with him. But he always says, like, if you refer someone to me, it's 20% payout, and I'm like, no, I don't need that. He just gave me a 14-foot boat. Like, pay me in wolf bait, wolf pelts, and boats, and I'm good. I don't need money. I don't need it. Tubby Guy Outdoors, if you don't go make that call to your sweetie, that camera might be hard to reach for you for a while. It would be so far up there. Yeah, frig. I just, like, as I was reading that, I was like, what? And I was like, oh yeah, I got it. Darren, yes, I was there for the entire first week, sleeping in the back seat of my truck. And it was Tucker there with you. That's your dog's name, Tucker, right? Good for you, brother. Hey, like, you do what you got to do, especially in a career like that. I'm not a trucker, but I don't often say I understand, because it's a very subjective thing. And like, if I were to tell you, Darren, like, I understand that you lost your job and I understand how that feels. No, I don't. I didn't lose my job, but I understand the concept and why people went to Ottawa. Because that feeling was there throughout all of Canada and the US and the world. That's why there was so many protests everywhere, even though they were censored off the news and YouTube and everything, and we didn't see half of them. But hey, Germany and the farmers protest, that's wild. That stuff's going on over there in Europe. It's crazy. Darren Ingram, yeah, they filed for an appeal. Yes, well, they kind of have to, right? So judge rules that the Emergency Act being invoked was a breach of our, like, human rights, and it was not, I guess, out of the public interest, something that should have been done, whatever the law wording is. And obviously, like, they have to appeal it. And when I say they have to appeal it, is, I mean, if they don't appeal it, it's almost like they're just like, oh, yes, we agree with you, right? So it's just one more tactic that they're throwing into the box, and more money that they're spending on it, our money that they're spending on it. So yeah, it's sad. Darren Davidson Outdoors, I had videos of the convoy. YouTube wouldn't push my channel until I took them off public. So I took them off public and they started bumping my channel. Yeah, I feel like that's the same thing with like the projection, like staple gun stuff. Like, I feel like certain words, like I've said a lot of keywords in here, like the V word and the C word, and like government and all this, keywords, right? Like, soon we're gonna see, like, in the chat, like CSIS or the RCMP has entered the chat. Anyways, I'm gonna sign off, guys. Love you all. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. I really enjoy these. It's really nice chatting with you guys. It's like always a good little one-on-one session, and we're all able to come together as one. And it's almost like we're sitting down, like I'm drinking a little sparkling water, but it's like we're, having a drink, right? Maybe we're not at a bar together, but kind of, if I had a green screen behind me, actually I probably could green screen a bar behind me. But it's been really, really nice, and I will do more of these. I'll make sure to give you guys a heads up, like I did before. Schedule it in, do a little community post to get it out there. But yeah, I got a couple new videos. I think I got a new video coming out on the 26th, March 1st, and then March 4th, I think. I just got them all scheduled in. Different Fins, he's got a YouTube channel. He was the one that kind of told me about scheduling YouTube videos, and he does it all the time. And he's like, it's just convenient because I can be at work and then the video like launches and then it's making views while I'm at work. And I'm like, that's super smart. because before that I was just like putting videos up whenever I could at 9 o'clock at night or 10 p.m. at night. But Steve, how's it going, man? Nice to see you. Hopefully the family's well, man. It's hockey night in Canada. Yeah, there you go. Grab a beer and go enjoy hockey. I gotta go. Yeah, I'm down to coals. I gotta go stoke the wood stove, and I gotta call Renee and her family. I'll tell Renee you guys say hi. She's at work right now, but she tuned in for a couple minutes there. But weekender, I'll tell Renee you say hi, and yeah, fingers crossed. You guys are in my prayers and blessings, and I might actually be heading to. So I met a farmer. Just one last thing, squirrel. One last thing. I met a farmer from Thunder Bay the other day. That rhymed. I met a farmer from Thunder Bay the other day, and he was telling me he was a dairy farmer. Now he's a grain farmer, and he's got a bunch of wolves and coyotes on his property. So he's texting me back and forth today when I was at the gym, and he's trying to, like, I'm gonna have to print off the property use permit off the M&R website, but I might go for a 6-hour trip south and to Thunder Bay and hunt some coyotes and just sit in my winter whites and just do a little video for you guys. But it might not be until March. I got a pretty busy rest of February. Well, I guess we only have 4 days left of February, but kind of like first week of March as well is a little bit busy for me. But yeah, that's it. Anyways, you guys have a wonderful night. Stay well, stay safe when you're out in the bush. I hope all your family's doing good. And thanks for tuning in. And yeah, till next time. Cheers, guys.